All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check out its local search and its city search, see if it's got BSS for either of them. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pinned post, home video, pinned video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Highest intent peeps on the left. These are peeps searching for both boudoir photo shoot in their city today. I focus on them and make videos about actually getting them to come to us. Here, videos about BSS. Over on the right, there's the lowest intent peeps. We talk about getting these peeps to come to us on our sister brand or sister channel, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. Both are bad. 0, extra bad. If we got 0 slots page 1, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So if we end on page 1, we're visible to approximately 80% of searchers, approximately 80% of buyers, approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market. Bad, extra bad. Also, 1 slot page 1, that ain't good enough anymore. That's bad as well, because guess what? There's 9 other organic slots page 1. It's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there, so everyone's got 1 slot. We're looking the same as everyone else. Not standing out, not looking special. So a boudoir buyer, what they're going to do is they're just going to click down, open everyone's website, opens everyone's website up and, literally get a quote, fill out everyone's contact form, get a quote from everyone, price shop, price compare, negotiate, waste everyone's time, blah, blah, blah. And, only 10% of the time we're going to get that person to buy from us. So that other 90% of the time we're wasting it. And 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's not normal to have such a small few number of page 1 links on Google search. But it is accepted and it is, commonplace, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And I know this is normal because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days utilizing this new methodology we developed. Now, these 2 deeper root causes here are 1, market saturation, 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Over time, people get kind of new devices, new gear, new iPhone, new camera, and eventually people throw up their Google My Business profile, and then they now shoot boudoir, or they throw up their, website saying they now are a boudoir photographer, or they're posting them on Facebook groups that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers competing for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every single boudoir photographer. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is new to most people. Very, very, it used to be very common to accept this, very common to accept that, every boudoir photographer is, gets 0-1 slots page 1 on Google, and either you get it or you don't, and it's not much you can do about it. And even if you had 1 slot on page 1 on Google, well, maybe there's some market saturation and that slot, that slot goes away, or, then you go down to page 2. Well, you got to kind of hope those people leave the market and then hope Google puts you back on page 1. So it's kind of like a learned helplessness belief, but it's not true. We've learned it's not true because, again, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in only 10 days. So we know the false belief page 1 equality. Now we know that it is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. And yeah, dude, if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we're on page, and if we're on page 1, everyone else has got 1 slot on, all the other 9 competitors got 1 slot as well. So we're essentially invisible as well. So if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're dying fast. If we're on page 1 with 1 slot, we're dying slow. In both cases, we're disappearing boudoir photographer, which actually is kind of like the warning light, the red flag, the canary in the coal mine that tells us our boudoir photography business itself is actually on the path to disappearing. It's now starting down that path. Thankfully, we have discovered a solution though. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says. You know, we saturate social search with the highest intent Boudoir buyer keywords, making sure that we show up there. And what this acts like is basically like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains, the eastern side, the backside of these Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow up there, what it does is it, all year it's melting into streams, melting, the streams, small streams, flow into small rivers, but it all eventually comes to be collected in the Amazon River. That's where all the water actually comes from. And that page one of Google search is the Amazon River, but we got to first stuff, SQ methodology. We got to first saturate, do social search saturation, put the snow up there at the top of the mountain, so then all those videos, links can flow onto page one of Google search. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to grow during periods where the market's getting more and more saturated every day, and give them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen a lot of people to do that is having a large, well-known brand, but that takes on average, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. AI is here. We need results. We need a opportunity ASAP. And actually, interestingly enough, S-cube methodology, by my estimates, can actually help those actually build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than all these other kind of standard ways of doing it, just because we're doing more volume on more surfaces and showing up in the right places way more often over time. It's kind of like a double bonus of utilizing S-cube methodology. So example now. All right, so we are right now going to, let's say, we're going to Boise, Idaho. And there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Boise, Idaho. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir photography. And as a result, everyone's website's trying to rank page one on Google as much as possible, ultra competitive. We're like, man, we ain't got no large, well-known brand. Literally the only thing left that allows us to compete effectively is S-cubed methodology. So we decided to crank it to the max, like way more than average boudoir photographer would. And let's say we're taking up the first, 300 slots of social search across all the social platforms, and then that flows onto Google search. And let's say we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. Well, it's 10 organic slots, per page on Google. So we're literally taking basically the first 30 pages of Google. So whenever a boudoir buyer searches for us anywhere digitally, we basically got like the first 300 slots to ourselves. So we are, basically like, we're basically the only one they can find, whether they're searching social media, they're searching Google, basically the only one they can find. So in this case, they'd have to, scroll to slot 301, or would that be on Google page 31 to find us? And so in this case, whose business is growing? Whose boudoir photography business is growing? Most likely only ours, because we're basically the only one that can be found by buyers. And whose boudoir photography businesses are dying, disappearing, going invisible? Well, most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers competing against us in Boise, Idaho. And so this is, kind of an ultra example of what S-cube methodology, kind of the opportunity it could give to a boudoir photography business, but this is like an ultra extreme version, ultra extreme example version. Now, once treated with S-cube methodology, we have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more links page one Google search. And the second initial benefit we're getting is every new link we get on page one Google search, good for us. And we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. This is awesome. So we can literally control how many of our competitors are on page one of Google search are not organic by our effort in acquiring these organic Google slots. And it's good because these slots have some momentum, not infinite momentum, but they do have some momentum. Unlike Google PPC ads or any ads, that momentum goes to zero the instant you stop paying for them. And let's see. Yeah, so a lot of boudoir photographers like this. They're like kick their competitors off. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search as the minimum. More is obviously better, but that's because basically every other boudoir photographer is going to have one slot each on page one. So if we got 3, we're dominating. Everyone else has got 1. We're actually standing out, actually looking unique. And the super rare train, someone has 2. Well, we still got 3, so we're dominating them as well. So we're basically kind of dominating in all scenarios here. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution. Thank the universe. SQ'd methodology. We use that to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and have boudoir search visibility. All right, so now my results utilize an SQ'd methodology. So I actually wanted to rank for this keyword, well, I want to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. So I went to work purely utilizing SQ'd methodology. And see my results. We're going down the organic slots. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I went from 0 to 10 slots, Google page 1, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 search in only 10 days, purely utilizing SQ'd methodology. So main event here now. I'm going to take a look at this boudoir photography business and see, basically see for its local search and city search, does that BSS, yes, no, for all of them, for one of them, or what? All right, so we're going to Virginia Beach. Okay, Virginia Beach, we're here. All right, boom, we got 1. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. Let's go to city, closest, another city closest nearby. All right, so let's see. All right, we're at 0 out of 10 for city. All right, so local, we got 1 out of 10 slots, so we do a BSS. And city, we got 0 out of 10 slots, so yes, we got BSS for both. And also for both, we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, your city searches for the highest attempt boudoir buyer keywords for your area, and you either got 0 or 1 slots, for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. And so you do see that, oh, we actually can take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you see an SQ'd methodology is the only way forward. Best solution for you, best and only solution for you. And you've been waiting for something like this. You like the initial benefits, more slots, page 1 Google. You really like the more slots actually kicks competitors off as well. Makes them invisible, puts them on page 2 to 10, makes them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace, the bulk of the market. And as a result, you're also looking ahead. You understand the market saturation. Yeah, peeps get new gear, they upgrade their gear, they become boudoir photographers, blah, blah, blah. But you're also seeing AI is taking people's jobs right now already. AI is going to get better and better, which means it's going to take more and more people's jobs into the future. So like, exactly like COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. Everyone's got a super smartphone with ultra camera. Very easy for anyone to become boudoir photographer. You're like, way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the marketplace now. And so you're looking ahead, you're like, man, I don't need only these links on Google search. I actually need to fortify my position, page 1 Google search. Literally has so many links on page 1 that Google wants to rank them on page 1, but there's not enough space, and they got to go literally like push them onto page 2, 3, or 4. And so you want that fortification, that kind of overflowing of links, to essentially prevent any current boudoir photographer from basically ever ranking on page 1 Google search again, and also any future boudoir photographer that comes from AI taking their job from ever hopping on, ever be able to rank page 1 Google search ever again. So you're liking that future benefit, fortification. You want to achieve page 1 visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And as a result, you are also thinking about and understanding that executing SQ methodology every single day is, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of plugging into your business name, brand name, social handles, website name, your name, out there on the internet, kind of cyberspace, invisibly. And as we build these up, we're building up this like back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum, which contributes to showing up here in AI overview. So every day we kind of execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI overview displays us, which is the most premium slot here. It's the first slot, cannot pay for it, it's organic only. We're also increasing the probability that AI search apps recommend us as well. And when that happens, we're higher chance of being recommended ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Google or Microsoft Copilot. And AI search getting bigger and bigger every single day, more and more people using it every single day. So it's becoming more and more important. So it's kind of like a back-end future benefit. Well, we're kind of going to be going for page 1 Google search first, because that's still the king. But AI is growing every single day, so it's a back-end kind of parallel benefit of doing SQ methodology. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers with an AI search app. I used ChatGPT, looked for someone in a city. ChatGPT recommended me 3. I then did the standard Google search and like Facebook search, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we need to find any way possible to get recommended here. Again, SQ methodology is the only solution that enables this in a relatively quick way, or relatively quick increase in probability. And so you're liking those future benefits. You also like the estimated, 8x speed up of creating a large, well-known brand compared to traditional methods. It's because has much more volume on many different surfaces. You also understand my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. So you've decided to be first mover, so you can actually get all these benefits, and more importantly, prevent your competitors from getting these benefits and keep them, page 2 or deeper, which is the goal. Keep them invisible and disappearing, keep their business disappearing. And when you actually, you're thinking, if conversely, one of your boudoir photographer competitors in your city signed out with me first, they'd actually be getting all the links. You would actually be relegated to page 2 or deeper. We'd have so many links, we would make sure to do our best efforts so you could never rank page 1 again. We'd be building up their backend AI mindshare, keyword mindshare for their brand, for them to be recommended AI overview, AI search. And we'd be building up such a big gap that in order for you to compete, you'd actually have to rederive SQ methodology on your own. And when you do that, you would then also need to, then execute every single day, same as us. But even if you did all those things, the gap would still remain the same size. Because we'd be executing every day as well. So you'd actually have to double or triple our output. And when you do that, you'd have to, well, you wouldn't even be 100% confident to put in the time to double or triple our output, because still you wouldn't even know if you've derived the methodology of the technology correctly in the first place. And think about all the stuff you're realizing, screw that. You don't want to miss this opportunity. You ain't got 80 hours in a day to do all this stuff. So you're deciding, screw that. And you're deciding to hop on first, be the first mover in your city, block out all your competitors. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But when the hospital opens for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.